It's been 15 years since the release of Donnie Darko. It's just recently had a re-release, and it's been re-released on Blu-ray as well as a 4K transfer. I thought it was time to review it because it's one of my favourite films. I think it's probably in my top 10, certainly in my top 20 of all time. It's written and directed by Richard Kelly, who went on to make another really good film, a very underrated film called The Box. He hasn't done anything since then, unfortunately, which is a real shame. But yeah, this is his masterpiece. This is the film that he will forever be known for. And it's not hard to see why. This put Jake Gyllenhaal on the map, essentially. You know, I have no doubt he would have become the actor that he is today without this, but this certainly helped him to get there faster. It follows the life of this teenager, Donnie Darko, very strange name obviously, who basically has this near miss of dying when a jet plane engine falls through his bedroom. Obviously he's not on the bed, so he survives, but the rest of the film plays out and he's seeing these visions of this rabbit who's telling him that the world is going to end in so many days. So he's kind of freaked out by that. He's seeing a psychiatrist. He's got psychological problems anyway. So we're left asking, are these visions in his head? Is this something he's seeing, or is it genuine? And you know, what are the ramifications of that on either side? I love this film. It's absolutely fantastic. It kind of feels like American Beauty for teenagers. It's got that kind of vibe, that suburban vibe about it, and it has an awful lot to say about society. Now, I do want to get into, well, I say spoilers. It's a 15-year-old film. If you've not seen it already, what are you doing? But for the sake of people who don't want it spoiling, I am going to talk about the ending of the film towards the end of this review, because I want to tell you what I think it means, what I think it's about. The performances across the board are absolutely stunning, and I do want to give particular mention to Mary McDonnell. She plays Donnie Darko's mother, and I think she's outstanding in this film. She doesn't get a lot of screen time, but she really sells that character of a mother who at times seems to be the only sane person in this town, and she has this son who could very well much be insane. She has this moment with Donnie when he asks her, how does it feel to have a son who's mad? And she says, wonderful. And you really get this overwhelming sense of the love she has for her son, no matter what. And it's brilliantly handled by McDonnell. The period detail as well is really great. This is a film set in the 80s. It uses that 80s visual aesthetic, you know, the 80s music as well. If you've got a choice of watching the theatrical cut or the director's cut, definitely go with the theatrical cut, because I think some of the musical choices in that are changed and it doesn't work as well, particularly the opening number that we start off with. It's much better in the theatrical. This is a film really about modern society and about how we are screwing it up. We are damaging each other through the media and through the kind of strains we put on our children in forcing them to become adults far too soon. You know, there's a moment in this film when they're called Sparkle Motion. It's this little dance troupe, these kids. And everyone's watching this talent show, and these kids come on and they're doing this kind of sexualized dance sequence. You know, they're dressed like kids, but they've got makeup on, and they're doing all these thrusting movements and stuff, and all the parents are cheering them on, and you're just thinking that is a perfect picture of what society is doing to our kids, how they're forcing them to grow up in the world far too soon. That's at least that's the way I see that scene. That's the way I read it. I'm sure maybe some people will be thinking I'm a bit weird for reading that into that. I don't know, but that's the way I read it. You know, we put people on a pedestal like this character played by Patrick Swayze, who turns out to be not something that they think he is. And Donnie Darko sees this. He's the one who sees this, who realises this from the start. So although he may be insane, he's not out of touch with reality. You know, it takes It takes a mad person to understand just how crazy the world is in that respect. So yeah, it's a brilliant film. It's absolutely fantastic, and I give it a 5 out of 5. But let me just talk about that ending. Like I say, spoilers if you've not seen it already. For me, what this film, the ending at any rate, what it's about is that ultimately it's a Christ allegory. Now, I wouldn't compare Donnie Darko to Christ, because obviously he's a very flawed character. He does some pretty rum things, and he says some pretty rum things in this film. But if you want to follow the narrative of Christ, in the sense that he has to die so that the world wakes up, so that the world can be saved, so that the world can get a second chance. Now, he finds the way to get back through time using this book that he finds by this woman called Grandma Death. It's all about time travel. I don't understand all that stuff. I don't understand how the time travel works exactly. I just know it's in that book. He discovers it, he knows about it, and he uses it at the end. What he does is he goes back in time to that moment on the bed, and he lets that engine crash on top of him. And he does it to save the town. The reason I say that is because when it happens, we go back in time, obviously. Everything starts again, only this time Donnie Darko's dead. But we see the reactions of everyone, all these characters we've met throughout the film. And they have an awareness, you know, they're all waking up in bed and wherever they are. And they have this awareness, you see it on their faces. They know what they've done. They know what they've been guilty of. We go back to this Patrick Swayze character who turns out to be a paedophile, and he wakes up in this sweat, really guilt-ridden. You feel like he's been convicted. And I feel that's the actions of Donnie Darko. I feel like this is a choice he's been given by God, or by a higher power, whatever you want to call it. If you're not comfortable calling it God, whatever, it's a higher power. Something has given him this opportunity to go back in time and give people a second chance. But in order to do that, he must die, and he makes that sacrifice. Now, ultimately, I think he does it for mainly selfish reasons, because he wants his girlfriend to live. Well, I say selfish reasons, it's not, because he's going to die, so it's not that selfish really, is it? She's going to live, he's going to die. He takes her place, but he's primarily doing it for her. But in the process, like I say, he saves this town, I say it like that because ultimately these people could carry on doing the things they do and carry on living the way they're living. But they've had a wake-up call, they've been convicted. That's my take on the film, and how they choose to go forward is up to them. But yeah, that's the Christ allegory I read into the film. There are many more things in the film that would just take me far too long to go into. But there's a lot of symbolism in there, a lot of key things that kind of point to that storyline. Anyway, this film is without doubt a classic. It's one of my favourites, 5 out of 5. Absolutely love it. But what do you think about it? Have you seen it? Comment below, let me know, and until next time, thanks for watching.